Bud Pierce captured the Republican nomination for governor in 2016, taking on Kate Brown. Brown won, but Pierce captured 43% of the vote. Now the Salem oncologist and former Marine is running again, hoping for a different result against whoever emerges for the Democrats. Dr. Bud Pierce, welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You know, let's talk about something medical right from the start. The statewide mask mandate against COVID ended on Saturday. Is now the right time?
Oh, absolutely. You know, from every point of view, I think the right time was earlier, but absolutely right now because our hospitals are emptying, less than 300 COVID patients. It's clear that we have the advantage at this point in time. Every variant seems less severe in terms of causing illness and death. And certainly it's the right time to free people up and lift our spirits and to lessen some of the burden of the response to COVID, which has actually led to as many deaths as COVID.
Now, you say now is the right time, but we should have done it earlier. Why do you say that?
Well, I think, again, we needed to right size it. You know, there are situations such as my practice where tight oversight, immunocompromised patients, lots of masking, lots of social distancing. We have very sick people. You have other places in the community where you have people at very low risk. And again, our response to COVID had led to in excess of 1 million deaths in our country, premature deaths, and the stress around it. And part of that stress was the fear and the restrictions. So again, I think a right size, not one size fits all, would have gotten us the same medical result and probably better in terms of our spirits and our mood and less premature deaths.
You've been critical of the state law that decriminalizes hard drugs, including heroin and meth. As governor, what would your alternative be to deal with these problems?
Well, it's either either throw the law out or remake it. So the goal of the law is laudable in terms of we don't want to put people into prison because they're suffering from hardcore drug use and addiction, and we don't want to lock them up for that sole purpose. But the problem with it is very few people that are suffering from the ravages of using drugs that are very dangerous have sought treatment or have gotten treatment. And when we support the use of these drugs, we're actually supporting the illegal drug trade, cartels, trafficking, human slavery. So all those things feed into this. It's not just a simple, we don't want to lock people up because they're suffering from drug addiction. So it needs to be heavily reworked or repealed and restarted. The goal is laudable. We don't lock up people to add to their suffering. But again, we have to aim to have people get into treatment when they're using drugs that are dangerous to them and can harm them. And we certainly can't be supporting the criminalized drug cartels that are exploiting people and are damaging our society.
So are you saying there should be an expansion of treatment centers in the state?
Absolutely. We need a lot of work to do in terms of treatment and how we take care of people and support people. And again, that needs to be mandated. When you get that citation, at the least, you need to have a drug assessment. How are you doing? Is it ruining your life? Are you able to function in society, and help needs to be gotten for you? And again, we have to be very careful on how this could support illegal operations that bring in drugs that lead to lots of human suffering, that criminality. We have to be very careful. So again, on a very superficial level, look good. Oregonians voted for it. At a much deeper level on how it's playing out, doesn't look nearly so good. Throw it out and redo it or rework it.
The filing deadline was just this past week, and we now know that there are 36 candidates running for governor. 19 of them are Republicans, including yourself. Why do you think there's an opening for a Republican to win the governor's mansion here?
Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson is a Democrat. She's been legislator for 20 years, senator for much of that time. She's going to draw more Democratic votes than Republican votes in the final. You'll have then 2 Democrats, 1 Republican. We think back to George Bush Sr. and Bill Clinton and Ross Perot. Ross Perot took a lot more votes from George Bush and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton won with around 37-40% of the vote. Sets up for us. It's our chance. No guarantee. Still an uphill battle, but 2 Democrats and 1 Republican gives us a real fighting chance in the finals.
Yeah, and just to clarify that, Betsy Johnson is running independent of any political party.
Right.
Couldn't she pull Republican votes as well?
Oh, sure. I think, and Ross Perot pulled Republican and Democratic votes, but he took more Republican votes. Betsy Johnson, as will play out in this campaign, is a Democrat. She's not an outsider. Only in politics can you be in politics for 20 years and hold office and be an outsider. So again, we'll let it play out. She could even win, she could win, but she should take more Democratic votes than Republican votes.
Now, there are a number of prominent Republicans that are already running, including yourself. I'm thinking about names like Bill Sizemore, Bob Tiernan, Christine Drazan, Stan Pulliam. Why should you be the Republican nominee?
I think above all else that I'm a person who has a tremendous proven track record for getting things done. My whole life's about getting things done. I don't like to debate the point. I don't like to argue about it. I don't like to spend excessive times planning. It's about, getting things done is about 5% planning and 95% doing. My whole life in my practice and growing the practice and philanthropy is about that. And as a doctor, I have a great love of people, a great love of humanity, a great love of equality. And I think those combination of skills that life has taught me puts me in a position to serve Oregonians as their servant governor. I think I have the heart for it. I still have the vigor and energy. I have the experience. I think I'm the best candidate to serve the people. So I run, put my name out there and let the people vote.
The legislature just approved a $400 million package to address homelessness and affordable housing. Was that the right step? And what would you do to deal with our homeless crisis?
Well, more money is definitely needed. More resources are definitely needed. I was in Medford yesterday, and there's a tremendous program in Medford that's called Rogue Retreat. That there's a person who's spent 24 years of their life coming up with a plan to help the homeless and the suffering, the drug addicted and the alcohol addicted and the mentally ill to get their lives back and to have a life that matters to them and it works out for society. That's an example of a program that can be taken statewide. I've spoken actually to the person who leads that program and said, if I get elected, I've made a lot of promises and I got to deliver and I need people who have experience. He said, yeah, I spent much time finding out what doesn't work. And I toured the program yesterday. Gosh, does it work? So there is hope. The governor's office needs to take ownership of this problem. If I'm the governor, I will take ownership, responsibility, and I will bring in people that have a proven track record of success. And they're also found in Portland that can lead us out of the misery of people suffering and dying on our streets and the misery of having to watch that happen. And it's going to end if I'm governor.
Dr. Pierce, we've got about 45 seconds here. But should you win the nomination, would you walk away from your oncology practice in Salem?
I didn't walk away last time. I'm not walking away this time. I can see my patients with the great support staff I have. I'll walk away if I win the governorship. But we have such a shortage in healthcare and such a shortage in the delivery system that to run for office, I just feel that's not fair to society and it's not fair to my patients. If I win, I'll step away. I'll become governor full time, work 80, 90, 100 hours a week. In the meantime, I'll work, 40, 50, 60 hours a week as a doctor and 40, 50 hours a week as a candidate. I believe that's sufficient for people to know if I'm to be their governor.
Dr. Bud Pierce, thank you for joining me on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Such an honor to be on. Thank you very much.
More Eye on Northwest Politics on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.